Hello students, today the discussion is about motion in a straight line, which is a part from the class 11th physics. So in the motion in a straight line, actually motion chapter, it starts in the class 9th. Okay, so there just it's a free fall and what is the displacement and distance, velocity, average speed and acceleration. So these things we discussed it. And now in the class 11th and for the problem solving for the IIT-JEE and NEET, so for the preparation, so what type of methods we need to follow? Let us discuss on it. Now the thing is, first one, when you speak about the motion in a straight line, motion in a straight line. In the motion in a straight line, first the relative terms. There are two relative terms. So first one is about rest. Next one is motion. Rest and motion. So what are these relative terms, rest and motion? So if a body is at rest, absence of motion. If a body is in motion, absence of rest. So that means what I'm saying about rest is what? If a body doesn't change its position with respect to surroundings. So when a body doesn't change its position with respect to surroundings or with respect to time taken or time interval. If a body is at rest, it has only one point. That point may be either initial point or final point. If a body is in motion, what is the motion position of a body? If a body is, for example, if you choose the point A, when I apply some external force, so the body has moved from here to here is the point B in a time taken T. Okay, so that's what I'm not discussing about these things. Just what we can move about when particle is moving from the point A to B with respect to time interval or with respect to surroundings. So that we can say here motion position of a body. Motion position of a body. So what is the motion? If a body changes its position with respect to time. If a body changes its position with respect to surroundings, this we can say it's a motion position. And what is displacement? Displacement and distance. Displacement and distance. What is displacement? Here, when you speak about the displacement, we should know about the shortest line joining. Shortest line joining. Shortest line joining between initial and final points. That's it. Initial and final points. Displacement delta x bar, it's a vector, is equals to x2 bar minus x1 bar is the displacement. It's a vector quantity. It is a vector quantity, means we need to follow sign conventions. Need to follow sign conventions. This is displacement. What is the distance? Distance is what? The actual path followed by the particle. So if you say it's a distance, distance is a path followed by the particle is the distance. So majority number of questions, the displacement and distance, we need to follow for the sign conventions. And so distance is what we need not to follow the sign convention for the distance because it is a scalar quantity. It's a scalar quantity. We choose a point. This is the point A. Here is the point B. A body has to be moved like this from the point A to B. This, the path, if I'm talking about, this is a path 1. The line joining from A to B, this is the line joining from A to B. So this is what it's a, so path 2, this I can say distance. Next one is about displacement. Distance and displacement. Do you know displacement may be positive, negative or 0 also. Displacement, we say about displacement, it may be positive, it may be negative, it may be 0. So if a distance, if you say distance is the distance. Distance means what? Only path followed. Only path followed. Only path followed means what? It's a positive. Only positive. Sir, in which case displacement and distance both are equal? Do you think displacement is greater than distance or displacement is less than distance? For that, just for the displacement, if you say magnitude of displacement, why do you say magnitude? It may be negative. Okay. So then displacement less than or is equals to distance. Displacement less than or is equals to distance. So in the first case, displacement is equals to distance, in which case this is possible in a straight line path when body travels in a straight line path. So for the case 2, displacement, okay, less than distance. Displacement less than distance. When body travels on curved path, this is the information about displacement and distance. So we'll go for a few examples based on this. Now, very first one, example 1 I am taking on this. If a body has to be travelled from the point A to the point B, A to B, it's let it be, this is 300 meter and returned to this is what, back 100 meter. It's a C. A to B, again B to C. So what is the displacement and what is the distance? Our displacement in first one, interval A to B and interval from A to C. If I speak about, this is what in A to B. In the straight line path, displacement is equals to distance. So, displacement is equals to distance is equals to what? 300 meter. From A to C, if you say, so A to C. A2 is what? This is the initial point and this one is the final point. Initial to final point. Okay. So this is what total, it's what? Reversed 100, that become as what? Displacement is equals to 300 minus 100, it's a 200 meter. Distance is equals to 300 plus 100, okay, total path length, it's what? 400 meter. Displacement from A to B and A to C. From A to C is what? So this total is what? Up to 300 and returned back 300 minus 100 is what? It's a 200 according to sign convention. Distance is what is actual path followed. 300 plus 100 is what? It's a 400 meter. So next one, if you choose about a cyclist, most repeated question. Okay, a cyclist moves on circular path. Moves along with a circular path. So circular path, its diameter, okay, so these are what? It's a diameter like. I'm choosing the points on this. First one, this is what? It's A, this is B, and next one is C and D. Let it be, its radius is what? R. The radius is R. So now I'm talking about, for the first question, find displacement and distance. Displacement and distance in the following situations. First one, A to B to C to D to again A, means what? One revolution. So second one is about A to B to C. This is what? Half revolution. Okay. So next one for the third one is about A to B. Okay. So this is what? 1/4 of revolution. And anywhere making some angle theta, that's what? For example, it came to from this point. So what is the displacement and the distance? This will be calculated. For the first one I'm talking, A to B to C to D again A. What is the displacement? What is your initial point A? What is the final point A? Displacement is equals to what? 0. Displacement is equals to 0. So initial point, it's a initial point is A, final point is A, displacement is equals to 0. What is the distance? Distance means what? Path followed. Distance means what? Path followed. What is the path followed? It is from A to B, B to C, C to D, D to A. What is the total circumference? Its circumference is what? 2 pi r. So for the first one, A to B, B to C, C to D, D to A. So the circumference is what? 2 pi r, and the displacement is what? 0. For the second one, I am talking on this in the second, where this is what? A. Initial point is A, final point is C. What is the line joining between initial to final point? This. So this is R, this one also R. So what is the displacement? Displacement, what should be there in your mind? It's a line joining between initial and final points. So A to C, the displacement is what? 2r. Okay. And what is the distance? Distance is equals to what? It's a half of that circumference from A to C. It's a pi r. And next one, if you see about for the third one is what? From A to B. It's a from A to B. So where is A? This initial point. Where is the final point? B. What is the line joining A to B? This is R, this one also R, this will become as what? Root 2R. You know this. Perpendicular is this. The side perpendicular opposite to the perpendicular 90 degrees is what? It's a hypotenuse. Hypotenuse square is equals to what? Adjacent square plus opposite square. R square plus R square means what? 2R square. And a root 2R square means what? Root 2R. So, what is the displacement? Displacement is equals to what? Root 2R. What is the distance? Distance is equals to, we can say, the distance is what? 1/4 of circumference, 1/4 of 2 pi r will become as pi r by 2. 2 pi r by 4 means what? It's a pi r by 2. Yes, so this is when the particle is moving along with a circular path, like we can find all the cases. And just for the problem solving, we need to follow a trick. The trick is what? When particle, it's a trick is when a particle or when a cyclist, okay, when a particle moves along a circular path, when it moves along a circular path of radius r, okay. So what is the displacement? Displacement is equals to 2r sine theta by 2. Just you remember. In relative motion you will discuss about. So displacement is equals to 2r sine theta by 2. Distance is equals to arc length. Arc length is what? It's a pi r. Arc length is equals to radius into angle. So this is what? It's a radius into angle. Okay. So if you want, you can do for the cross checking on this. For example, first one I am choosing on this. This is a circular path. Okay. So just now we completed. This is what? A to the B to the C to the D. Again I am writing this. Okay. So what is the displacement from A to B to C to D? What is the displacement? What displacement be written as? Displacement is equals to what? 2r sine theta by 2. 2r sine theta by 2. What is the theta? Total angle 360. 360 by 2 is what? 180. Sin pi, sin 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, all values will be 0. So this value 0 means what? Something into 0 is 0. Earlier we got displacement 0 only. What is the distance? Distance is equals to what? Arc length I said. Arc length means what? Radius into angle. Radius r. Angle is what? Total for one complete revolution. What is this? 2 pi radian. Answer is what? 2 pi r. So you can check in anything, not only this particular values. Some theta is equals to 60 degrees is given. It rotated with 60 degrees. So the tricky we need to follow about displacement means what? 2r sine theta by 2. And the distance is what? It's a radius into angle, r into theta. Okay, so this is the relation about displacement, and next one is about distance. Now we'll go about what is average speed and average velocity. And before this, for the displacement, one example I'm giving this. The question is one question. So the position of particle as a function of time t, position of a particle as a function of time t, x is equals to t square plus 4t plus 5 meter. This is the some expression, and I'm asking about find the net displacement. Find the net displacement from t is equals to 1 second to t equal to 4 seconds. Find the net displacement from t is equals to 1 second to t is equals to 4 seconds. So net displacement, t is equals to, first one is what, 1 second, next one is what, 4 seconds. So what is the formula for net displacement? Delta x. Delta x means what? x2 final minus, means x2 minus x1. So I want to know about net displacement. Net displacement delta x is equals to x final minus x initial, x4 minus x1, x4 minus x1. What is x1? x1 is, it's a 1 square plus 4 into 1 plus 5. It's a 1 plus 4 plus 5. It's a 10 meter. x4 is what? 4 square plus 4 into 4 plus 5. In place of t we need to substitute 4. It's a 16 plus 16 plus 5. 36 and 37 meter. Sorry, 32. Okay. So correct only, no? So this is what? 32 plus 5, 37 meter. What is the net displacement? Net displacement delta x is equals to, x4 is 37 minus 10. The answer is what? 27. Okay. So answer is 37 minus 10. It's a 27 meter. Is one type of problem for the to find the net displacement. So net displacement means, like we can discuss about, and displacement along with the straight line path, along with the curved path, like a circular path, we discussed it. Now I'm talking about, so the most important for the this problem solving in a motion is straight line. So that's what? Average velocity and average speed. Next one is instantaneous velocity. So first I'm talking average velocity. What is average velocity? How do we solve the problems based on average velocity? So average velocity is what? Just average velocity is net displacement by time taken. Net displacement by time taken. So time taken means what? It's a, so time we can talk about the total time taken is a better one. It's a time taken. It's a total time taken. Net displacement by total time taken. What is average velocity? Net displacement delta x. Total time taken is what? Delta t. We can write about x2 minus x1 by t2 minus t1 meter per second. It's x2 minus x1 by t2 minus t1. So that's what average velocity. Okay, next one is about what is average speed. Average speed. Average speed is equals to total distance traveled. Total distance traveled by total time taken. Total distance traveled by total time taken. What is the total distance traveled? Distance traveled means what? If I can say S by total time taken is what? T. This is average speed. It's a S by T. It depends on number of intervals. But this here for the average velocity and average speed. So graphically, if you want to represent on this, for example, this is what I want to know about average velocity and average speed. For example, this is the situation. It's a x and t is the graph, increasing slope. So I've chosen as there are the 2 points here. This is what? It's a t1. This is what? It's a t2. Here is x1 and next one is what? X2. So this from here you can talk on this. What is this length? The length from here to here is what? X2 minus x1. This is what? T2 minus t1. It makes an angle theta. Tan theta is equals to x2 minus x1 by t2 minus t1. The slope of this one is what? Velocity. This gives what? Average velocity. Okay. So next one, average speed. So what are the problem solving tricks for the average velocity and average speed? Average velocity means what? Only delta x by delta t, x2 minus x1 by t2 minus t1. So average speed I am talking on this. Now what about the average speed? Take a first one I am talking about this. 3 cases I want to discuss on this. But first one, case 1, body has to be traveled along with a straight line path. I am taking about 3 intervals. It's a 3 intervals. Okay. So just 1 second. Here these are the 3 intervals are given. Now first I am choosing this is like. Okay. So like 3 intervals. The total distance is what? Yes. Total distance is what? Yes. Is the total distance. And next one, it's a S1, S2, S3. Velocity. First I'm talking about T1, T2. Next one is what? T3. I need to find average speed. Average speed. Okay. Average speed. I can also say average velocity. Along with the straight line path, velocity and speed both are same. So average speed is equals to total distance by total time taken. Total time taken. So average speed is equals to total distance is what? S1 plus S2 plus S3 by total time taken T1 plus T2 plus T3. This is what? Average speed for the case 1. And if you speak about case 2, case 2 is what? The question is in terms of ST terminology. Distance traveled will be given and time will be given. So we need to check the units conversion and directly substitution S1 plus S2 plus S3 by T1 plus T2 plus T3. Next one is about, so case 2, I am talking about if the question is there in terms of So velocity v1 in a time t1, velocity v2 in a time t2, velocity v3 in a time t3. What is the average speed? Same. So v avg is equals to total distance s1 plus s2 plus s3 by t1 plus t2 plus t3. So this from the A, this is what A, B, C and D. If you take about what is the distance traveled S1. S1 is equals to what? V1 T1. S2 is equals to what? V2 T2. S3 is equals to what? V3 T3. So this is equals to V1 T1 plus V2 T2 plus V3 T3 by T1 plus T2 plus T3 is what? VAVG. Okay. So this is what? Second case. Now I'm talking about this third case is what? It's a case 3, third case. If the question is in terms of what? Like, okay. So distance traveled S1 is given, S2 is given, S3 is given. In a velocity V1, V2 and V3. I want to know about from what is the time taken. T is equals to what? S by V, S1 by V1. Similarly, all we can write T1, T2, T3. So what is the formula for average speed? So average speed is equals to total distance traveled. What is the formula? S1 plus S2 plus S3 by T1 means S1 by V1 plus S2 by V2 plus S3 by V3. So is the condition to calculate about average speed. Okay. So this is about average speed. And for the problem solving, average velocity we have completed and average speed based on like we can from the 3 cases we can do it as. I prefer, so from among all this is the very important for the problem solving. Many repeated models are there. So in terms of SV terminology, let us see one question based on this. Okay. So for the first one I'm talking about question number 1. For example, this is a distance. It's A and B, next one C. Okay. If body travels, first half of distance with a time t1, sorry, its velocity, no? If it first half of distance, okay. So with the velocity v1, second half of distance with a velocity is what? v2. Second half of distance with a velocity is what? v2. Okay. So this is what total distance is s by 2, v1 and v2. Well known formula 2v1 v2 by v1 plus v2. 2v1 v2 by v1 plus v2. So how do you get this one? So first one from this I have to write VAVG is equals to total distance traveled S1 plus S2 by T1 plus T2. VAVG is equals to S1 means S by 2 plus S by 2. Total time taken means what? S1 by V1 plus S2 by V2. S by 2 plus S by 2 by S1 means what? S by 2 into 1 by V1, S by 2 into 1 by V2. So we can write on this is what? 2 times of S by 2 by S by 2 is common in the denominator. S by 2 is common. What do you say now? 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2. These two will be cancelled is equals to 2 by 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2. Go for simplification. 2 V1 V2 by what? V1 plus V2. As a basic model question on this is what? Distance versus so velocity. So first half of distance traveled with a velocity V1, second half of distance traveled with a velocity V2 is the condition. And the same, just so you can prove yourself, just I'm giving idea on this. So first one, next is what? Second one, this is the distance, okay? 3 equal parts, it's what? S by 3, S by 3, S by 3. Its velocity V1, V2, V3. First 1/3 of distance with a velocity V1. Second 1/3 of distance with a velocity V2. Last 1/3 of distance traveled with a velocity V3. What is the average speed? You know, so VAVG is equals to, same condition, S1 plus S2 plus S3 by, which is the relation? It's a SV relation. SV relation means what? Case 3. Case 3 is what? S1 by V1 plus S2 by V2 plus S3 by V3. Okay, so if you substitute this one, S1 means what? S by 3 plus S by 3 plus S by 3. Okay, S by 3 into 1 by V1, S by 3 into 1 by V2, S by 3 into 1 by V3. Okay, so the answer will be in VAVG is equals to 3 V1 V2 V3 by V1 V2 plus V2 V3 plus V3 V1 is average speed. So what is the trick, sir? I want to write for this. So directly, what is the trick for the problem solving? Thus the trick is what? N by V is equals to 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2 plus 1 by V3 plus so on. This is the trick. How many intervals, sir? N is equals to 2 intervals. For the 2 intervals, for the 2 intervals. Means what? 2 by V is equals to 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2. So for N is equals to 3 intervals, N is equals to 3. So for 3 intervals means what? 3 by V is equals to 3 terms we need to write 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2 plus 1 by V3 like this. You know, so just if you go for the simplification to know about, this is V is equals to what you write. So 2 V1 V2 by V1 plus V2. For the 3 intervals, V is equals to what you say? 3 V1 V2 V3 by, okay, V1 V2 plus V2 V3 plus V3 V1 is the relation. This is for this. Sir, for the 4 intervals, 4 means what? N by 4. N means what? 4 by V. 4 by 4. V is equals to 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2 plus 1 by V3 plus 1 by V4. So like this we can write it as. Okay. These are the models based on, so displacement, distance, average speed and average velocity. Okay. Thank you everyone. This is end of today's session.